program is indeed brought to you in collaboration with Energy FM 105.5, which is basically empowering you through information, through education, and even giving you a pathway to get involved in the system, the process of making our society a better place. All right, we have, of course, as usual, the guests in the studio, Dr. Toby Ndamani. Dr. Toby, thank you for joining us. It is
Thank you, Charles.
the morning after the elections announcement.
Yeah.
Last week we were saying some things around the fact that by now we should have known the winner of the election by at least Monday, but it's
dragged on till yesterday,
yesterday night.
almost midnight. Yeah.
So tell us, for you, your personal assessments. I know you were on ground. We were moving from one place to another. In comparison with what we had at the presidential election, how do you assess these Guber elections?
I think during the presidential elections, more people came out, and I think there was less forcing people to vote for a particular party than it was in the 18th of March. It was worse. It was terrible.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the Guber election saw a lot of people intimidating voters and forcing them to vote a certain way.
Yes, and some got angry, went back home, they didn't vote. Instead of voting for whom they don't want, and they were threatened. So the issue of saying that election was free and fair, it has a very big question mark, and it is very troubling.
Okay, so is there a particular political party that should be blamed for this? Because we did the situation room thing, and we saw that while people from a certain zone are saying the same thing, some others from another zone are also saying they were also the same thing, but this time around there were different parties that are involved.
There were two factors that played very strongly on this particular election here in Enugu State. I'm not if people are quite aware of it. The first factor is the sectional factor. Remember last time we were talking about who should get caught, that Enugu had preserved some peace by trying to zone the governorship to the 3 senatorial zones. And it came out very clearly that the people in the Enugu senatorial zone, that one part of this zone is technically known to belong to Soka cultural affinity or identity, and there was some misgiving that the governorship should not go to that area. You remember?
Yeah.
The second factor that was even more destructive was what I mentioned the other time. It's going on the ground. People know about it, but they don't normally talk about it. It's the issue of this group and that group that we mentioned before. One group feeling that another group is trying to take upper hand. It played a very strong role in what happened.
So would you say?
It went out completely of whether PDP had performed well or not. So that was no longer the big factor. It was the two things that I mentioned now that became the factor. Whose zone should produce the governor, and the other factor of the sectional factor, this group and that group trying to get ascendancy to the throne of power. These are the two factors that decided what happened on the 18th.
So you don't feel that the results as announced by INEC may not have reflected the true will of the people?
No, yes, to a certain extent it did. Even with the suppression, it did.
It did, or it did not?
Yes. If you look at the polarization, look at what the Labour Party got and where they got so many votes. You saw it, it was in the Enugu North senatorial zone. Isn't it?
It was, of course.
So look at that sectional division, that's what played out. And the other 5 local governments of this side, the issues that belonged to Enugu East senatorial zone, voted with Enugu North. Did you see that?
Yes.
So that's the problem. So it reflected the will of the people to a certain extent, even with the suppression of votes. The area in question in Kano East, incidentally, which is my own area where I know very well, and I heard some people making the insinuation that in Kano East is a few towns with about 7,000 inhabitants. I said no. This place has 15 towns. Some of them are very big towns. Nkerefi is a big town, Luboka is a big town, Amagos is a big town, Owo is a big town. And you saw the record from INEC. They had over 82,000 PVCs collected and had over 33,000 accredited voters. In fact, there was undervoting in this area.
Undervoting?
Undervoting, yes. If you have 33 accredited voters and only 16,000 was deemed correct.
No, it was 19,000 that voted, even though there were 33,000. It was 19,000.
Okay, 19,000. Then you have 10,000 that didn't vote. Why? From 82,000 collected PVC. Look at it. So not even half of that voted had credible votes. So the place was, you can actually say the place was completely suppressed in terms of number. The place has great big number of people. And in the end, those who got their PVCs, not half of those people didn't even voted.
Who did the suppression? Who gained the most from the suppression?
It is very difficult to know who gained the most, as I told you, because the towns are mixed up. In some towns, some people are voting more for Labour. In some other towns, people are voting more for PDP. So the suppression could have come either from intimidation or people who are afraid of violence, because I don't understand why you have 82,000 people who collected PVC and not even up to 40,000 came to vote. And even those who are accredited, from 33,000 you have only 19,000 that cast valid votes. So how do you express? So when you look at the number, you see that the people were somehow disenfranchised. They were not allowed to vote. Or votes were avoided by some reasons why the voting, those who voted, that the number is so low.
Okay.
Don't you see the figures?
Yes.
If you compare it.
Yes.
So it is troubling to find out that this area, and actually you can say that what happened in the area would be a big disadvantage to PDP.
Really?
Yes, because that is their stronghold. Bearing in mind what I told you about the sectional chauvinist tendencies, that is where they were hoping to get large votes, but you can see what happened. We don't know the reason why the actual voting was so low.
Right. So, but with what you have seen, given what INEC did, the delay, the logjam, and then the eventual announcement of the result, we know that the number of the voting was reduced. At first, it was PDP's 30,000 plus, and then Labour Party 1,008, and I don't know whatnot. According to the electoral law, do you think that that particular local government should have been cancelled, so as to really know what exactly? There were two petitions, one for Nsukka and the other one for Kano East, but the one from Kano East were the ones that were sustained, and the one for Nsukka was overruled.
Yeah, we want to know the facts. What are the criteria for allowing one and not allowing the other? The whole local government cannot be annulled. The law doesn't say that. Polling booths may be annulled.
Okay.
And I think that the INEC man here in Enugu had no business referring anything to Abuja. He abdicated his duty. Yes, the law told him what to do. Cancel the places that there was overvoting. You cannot cancel the whole local government because this is a big area. I told you 15 towns. How are you going to cancel the voting in all the 15 towns? It's not in all the polling booths that there were problems. Cancel the ones that were problematic. He didn't need to refer to Abuja to do that. Actually, what he did was to put us into great tension. This could have been done here right on that day. The review could be done here in Enugu. You don't need to go to do review in Abuja. What is it that the Abuja people are going to do? Will they come down to the place? You understand? We go polling booth by polling booth. What exactly happened? Where you have overvoting, you cancel the polling booth, but not the whole local government.
Are you surprised that Rivers was even, bypassed? You wonder, how did the result come at first to the collation center, at the state collation center, and even announced?
Yeah, why are you surprised, Charles, when it happened also the same thing in the presidential election? It is the collusion of the INEC. I told you that you have Nigeria is a country at war with itself. And here in Enugu, you can see that divide and rule. The people are fighting and killing each other for 2 politicians or 3 politicians. That tomorrow, all of them were together in one party before, and some quickly jumped into another party, and apparently they became enemies. I don't think that they're enemies in the sense we are looking at it. So the people are divided. It is the collusion from the INEC that can make it possible. Just look at this scenario. If the INEC staff decide to carry the ballots, go to one place and add more ballots and bring a new sheet, recopy the result and snap it and send to the INEC rep. So what will happen? It can never happen without collusion with INEC people. And I saw it. I came to complain to some of them who were allowing irregularities where I monitored. And then somebody called me aside and said, leave them, they have collected their money. In fact, they even said each of those small staff there collected 300,000. I went to the police people sitting down there. They say, Father, please leave us alone. In one incident which I reported where they broke the cubicle, Charles, they broke the cubicle, took the ballot paper for the governorship alone and took the ink and ran away. Fortunately, the soldiers came. It was at Amojinike, the Reverend Sisters from the monastery had come down to vote and they were online and there was no ink. So I went out again to look for ink so that the voting could continue. But they couldn't find the ballot there, so I had to go back to the local government in order to get another ballot paper to continue. So INEC people are colluding with politicians to do what is happening. To solve the problem, I don't know, because there are just very little that the ordinary people can do. If you are not inside the place and you are not able to see what they are doing. The politicians have learned from what happened on the 25th. And they strategized and they came with a more horrible strategy that worked for them. The strategy was terrible. Yeah, people were hired to stand by the roadsides to tell people, if you are going into this place, if you are not voting for a candidate, you are going to be in trouble, we will break your head, we do this, we do that. A few people defied it and went to vote, and some went back. You can see the number of people that the whole of Enugu, over 2,000 people should have collected, 2 million people should have collected PVC. And you have less than 500,000 voting in total for a whole state. That is abysmal. Do you even call this democracy? I ask, do you call it democracy? I told you all the time that you are not operating any democracy. You are trying, and the word trying in English language is that when you are trying, you don't know that thing, you're only trying to do it. You know, sometimes people translate the Igbo language into English and it's false. When sitting on Abambo is not trying. On Abambo is doing well. But when you say you are trying to do it, you don't know how to do it. So we are trying to start democracy, but we have not started and we are not doing it. Judging by the fact that ordinary voting, Charles, you are afraid of your life. Just the freedom. Remember the story I told you the other day that my German friends that came here and they went home, they said in Nigeria you have to pay on the road before you pass. That you don't have freedom of movement in Nigeria because the police is standing there for you to pay. If you don't pay, you don't pass. It did not occur to me, but from their own point of view, the toll you pay on the road, the bribe that the bossman and the keke pays is for movement. And here people are not allowed to vote their choice. The basic simple thing about freedom, you don't even have freedom to choose. And the same people who have hijacked this, look at when you have a government that is not credible. Do you even call it a government? Because government is for the people. Government is supposed to be the common good. And when it is the same government that is perpetrating atrocities, so whether INEC or even the judiciary is different, remember the separation of powers, which is the hallmark of democracy in the Western countries, is that you have three arms of government, each independent, operating independently and having checks and balances on each other. And now you have that the president is one who is appointing people in this INEC we are talking about, and who is he appointing? You come for state elections, it is the governor who is in control of the state local government election. So how do you think it's going to go? We're in trouble.
Let's talk about this division. So we're going to come back to some of the things that you raised earlier. The division as it relates to Nsukka and again the Nkanu people. Why is it always when it is an election that's when these divisions are whipped up?
No. It is only in this one because it was completely settled when you zoned the governorship. The first person that took it was Shimaro Kenoman, who comes from Nkanu. Yeah. Then the second time it went to Enugu West, Sullivan. The third time it went to Nsukka, Enugu North, and that is Ugwuanyi. And now this matter is coming back only, as I told you, that the only reason why Isuzo was put in Enugu East was that Nsukka zone had already 6 local governments. And if you put Isuzo, it will be 7. It will be lopsided. But it is appearing now that it's a mistake. The Isuzo should have been included in Enugu North in order to avoid what is happening now. So previously there was no problem at all. But now that PDP has won and the zoning is retained, the matter is settled. It's not going to come up again. So it's like the tension that it was going to bring if the governorship had gone back to Nsukka zone is settled. And if now the next rotation goes to Enugu West.
But then again, those who are from Nsukka would also feel a little bit saddened by the situation.
Why? Because they just finished the governorship.
No, I'm talking about Isuzo specifically.
Isuzo, exactly. It's a special case. That's what I'm talking about. If you say that democracy is about number, and if it is only one local government coming from joining the other 5, and the other 5 are saying, well, we should call the shots because we are more in number. That's what is the problem. Now that the zoning system has been sustained, I think the matter is settled.
Okay, let's go on a very, very tiny short break. Back after this. The issues which we would, talk more about in subsequent programs. We want to stick to basically this particular elections. You have said that the the elections actually encapsulated the will of the people, giving even the division, the intimidation, and the acceptance. Now, when a process doesn't really give you what you want, does it make it? Do you think that people would feel saddened, who feel bad, are justified by staying back and not do anything?
No, they are not. But you have to educate them. What we have not done is education. That is part of why this our program is important. The critical mass is not educated. Look at the number of, let us assume that the voided votes came as a result of ignorance of people. Who has taken it upon himself to go to the villages, to go to the square, to go to the market, to talk to the people? That's when I say the people are like conquered group of people who are just there, and people remember them when they have to vote. Remember what is happening in the north. Do you remember, Charles, that they were going from house to house sharing the voters card in the north? And here they actually prevented people even from collecting. You come 3, 4, 5 times, you will not get your card. We're saying the next time I will help to volunteer to go from village to village to share cards, to get people registered, go to their homes and register them. We will pay INEC staff and go from house to house to register people. We should have more voters. The people have not been educated. And even to how to make concessions. Look, what is happening in Europe, Charles, is that cobblers, keke drivers, truck pushers, all of them are in a very strong unions. And they have concession. You have to give them what their own group. Let me just give you an example. Go to Ogbete market, go to Kenyatta market, go to Artisan market, go to Abakwa market. Do they have unions? What are they asking from the government? All the places I talked about are dilapidated. True or false? Go to the place where you buy the meat that even those politicians eat at Abakwa. You will not be able to eat the meat because of how the place is looking. If of course, when they cut the meat and bring it home, you wash it and you eat it. But if you need to go to the place yourself, what are the concessions that those people in the market are asking? Rather, the market leaders collude with the government people. They give them something and they keep quiet. Go to Timber Shade in Abakwa and see you can't even walk on the street when it rains because the poto there is so big. That's why I tell you that the people look as if they are fools. And the government people, they know that the people are looking like fools. They don't know how to organize themselves to get the amenities that they need. And every 4 years, they come and get votes. I'm looking at a situation where people in Ogbete say, if you don't repair the market, we are not voting at all. You understand? When the motor people in Gariki will say, if you don't tie the whole place and put water and put the toilet, this park is not going to function. Tell me why those things are not done.
Right, but if there are laid down rules and regulations that are supposed to be followed in the processes leading to an election, and that election happens, and the processes that was not followed,
the processes were flawed, but in that flawed process, what else can you do than to manage what comes out of it? We're asking for the presidential election to be annulled because of faulty process. The process is so important because otherwise you will go back to Machiavellian system. At the end, it justifies the means. So once you arrive at an end, desired end, which is normally good, but the process through which you come to that end, if it's flawed, then so the process is flawed. We say even with the collusion of INEC staff, whatever has happened now because of the 2 factors I mentioned to you played out, it would have been odd if we didn't have what we have now. Yes. Because when the other zone, when the Enugu North zone found an opportunity for them to come back to power again after 8 years, you can see what happened. That is actually what you have to start asking if that zoning is going to be sustained. Why did it happen that way? They just had 8 years. And now they want to have another 8 years. And looking at the factor, because this, I sympathize with the people of Isuzu. You understand? Because they are now like prodigals, I don't know, not prodigals also. They are not here, they are not there. And why is it that people are struggling to get the governorship to their side? You know the reason. Lack of equity and justice. That it is only when it comes to our own side that we are hoping to get something. So we cannot give our slot to another group.
So it is true that those who have occupied seats deliberately not
deliberately abused it. Yes, you can go to the list. Just go to the list and look at the permanent secretaries you have in the state, and all the choice positions you have in the state. 80% of it will go to one side, the place that has governorship.
But is that what is supposed to be?
No, that is wrong, and that's what we're asking. Why is it that the people in the house are keeping quiet? Because all the other areas that are neglected also have their representatives in the house. And all the members of the appointments are presented to the house to approve. For instance, the commissioners. When you look at the appointments in the parastatals, because the man sitting in the Lions building is like an emperor. Nobody tells him anything. People are afraid to say anything to him. They say it is their turn, it is their time. Remember James and the Henshaw, this is our chance. That drama, I like it. So the group said this is our chance. And that's why they will blame you when it is your turn and nothing happens in your area. I still remember people who are telling me, oh, after all, Chimarok is from your side. My town benefited practically nothing. Nothing during Chimaroke's regime for the 8 years. Nothing.
Are you sure?
I'm telling you, yes, quote me anywhere, because this is my own village. Practically nothing.
While he was governor?
While he was governor, we got only one borehole that he brought when he was senator.
Not as governor?
Not as governor. We got nothing, practically nothing.
About roads?
No road, no road, not one road.
Institution that he
no institution, no institution, no hospital, no school. Quote me, I built a hospital in my village. And that was what the local government chairman was claiming when they are going out to submit the name of the hospital as their own. The hospital is the only functioning hospital in the whole of the local government that has water and has light.
In Kano East?
In Kano East, yes. Tell me, I have all the towns in my head. 15 towns. Apart from the one that Peter Mba built for his people in Ogo. That is not government hospital, it is private hospital. You go to Yobahu, you don't have anything. You go to Amankan, you go to Amechi Dodo. The road, on this Abakaliki road, Amechi Dodo is on that road. If you are going to the headquarters, which is in Amagunze, you would have to come to Emene, come to Gariki, go to pass through Aban, pass through Abugo before you will come to the headquarters. If there were to be a bridge from Amechi Dodo into Amagunze, it is 10 minutes drive. But you will go 80 kilometers before you come to the headquarters. That is how bad this local government is. In Kano East has not one single bank. The 15 towns, there is no place where there is a bank. It tells you what about the economic activities in the area is zero. Not one single new road. The old road from Abane to Nkerefi was the road that Jim Ngobdo built in 1981. And this government tried to rehabilitate it, it couldn't. There were patches here and there, the road is still so bad.
So this issue of someone coming from my area, it doesn't make any sense, because
it makes sense only to a certain extent.
To what extent then?
To the extent that the governor will do things in his area where he wants to do something. If he doesn't do it, you are on your own. As I'm telling you now that this particular local government got nothing. During Sullivan's regime, it got nothing. During this Ugwanisi regime, it got nothing. It's got 50 meters road that was built from in Amechi Road. The road was awarded to go to Amagunze headquarters. This shortcut I was telling you, 50 meters were built. We went to make inquiries, and my friends there, they told me that when the contractors were packing their equipment to go, so they went to the government to complain, and they told them, well, this is the much that they were giving money to build. 1 kilometer or 50 meters. And that road stopped where it is today. And then, more importantly, Charles, the Inyaba Bridge, there's a bridge this bridge had been built 2 times and it had been washed away 2 times. 2 times a government will build a bridge in the water, and when the rain comes, it will wash away the bridge. This is what I witnessed myself. I took pictures of it. I sent it to those who were in charge. Nobody is telling me this is what I saw.
So then why do people clamor more for people to come from their area to be elected in position, given that over time it hasn't really worked? Where you come from doesn't. I mean, if you speak to an Nsukka person, he thinks the same way of the outgoing governor. So you wonder.
Only in certain I feel people will get something. But let me tell you where the emphasis is more. It's not really much on infrastructure. Infrastructure only to a lesser extent. They are talking about appointments in government, juicy appointments. Those who have leverage for something, and once it is their turn, they have a free reign. I still remember one person who was promoted, who didn't pass even WAEC. He had G4, but he got a position for level 14 and 15 in the government. They're not looking at papers. Once you are from our area, they give you the position. This is how bad it is, and that is why things are not working. And I am completely against anybody taking the position that is due to other people to give to our own side. I don't like it. You must sustain that. If you do it for 3 times, then the issue of where the governor comes from will not be. So whether the governor is from our side, whether we voted for him or not, we will get what is due to us. Understand? And you come back to the issue of the local government problem. That the State House of Assembly voted against local government autonomy. Because if the local government were to be autonomous, Nkanu East will not be suffering what is suffering today, because a huge amount of money is being allocated every month for this area. And that's the area I'm telling you that has not a single road built by the government. The 2 previous governments, this is 16 years have passed, and this area has nothing. And maybe we don't even have a guarantee that now the governor is coming from the area. We don't know what will happen. We're only hoping. But the emphasis is more on who is what in the government and how many people are there in the government. I calculate, I figure out that maybe the Enugu civil service is about 5% of the total population. And if you ask me if the civil service stops working, what will happen? Do you know?
That's crazy.
No, tell me so, because more than 70-80% of our people live in the rural area. So what is it that will happen? You give 98% of the resources to 5%. What kind of democracy is that? This is terrible.
So you are not optimistic, given the antecedents of what we've had as government of Enugu State?
I'm not.
Optimistic about.
You cannot rule out hope. If you lose hope, then you lose everything. I'm hoping that it will be better. And look at the constellation of the House now. It might change the whole music. You notice that Labour has 14 House of Assembly members.
State House of Assembly members, yes.
Yes. And PDP has only 10 out of 24.
Yes.
So this is the first time you are having an opposition for the first time.
Right.
In Enugu, the first time since 1999 you are going to have an opposition. But that opposition, we don't even know what the opposition is going to do. When the people settle into it and take salary for 3 months and begin to enjoy the largesse, we don't know where they're going. Don't forget that this is a place where PDP had been for 24 years, and those who ran into Labour, we don't know the reason why they ran into Labour. Is it an opportunistic gain? I have chance, this is then I strike. Or are they going there for the public good? It will be very clear. We will hear the debates in the House. We want to listen, and I would personally like to attend plenaries.
Right. I mean, if they have 14 Labour Party members and 10 PDP members, it does look like the Speaker would most likely be a Labour Party member.
Hopefully, yeah.
You know.
If they don't do a quid pro quo, give and take.
So I can only imagine what it would be like. It doesn't really augur well most of the time, especially in the Nigerian climate, when we have opposition that is leading the pack at the State House of Assembly, and then the different party at at state level, at the state governor. It's going to be a problem because
no.
Sometimes because we've seen that play out.
No. What is playing out is a different thing. Okay. The people that are fighting to stop what will happen are looking for their pockets. They are not for the people. Tell me where they are rooting for the people. Remember the former governor of Benue State, incidentally a priest is elected as a governor in Benue again. Father Moses Adasu was nearly impeached because he refused to ride in a convoy. The House of Assembly members wanted to get contract to supply the convoy cars. And the father said, I'm not going on convoy. He used to trek to the market to drink with the people. So ask me, the people you are talking about, who are they fighting for? For the people? Are they fighting to make sure that the government will come and grade my roads and give me water and rebuild my schools? Is that what you are saying? What is it that they are fighting for? I would like a robust House of Assembly where debate will be so hot about the common good, not about their salary, not about their allowance.
Would you be surprised if the defects, given what has happened at the state level?
Yeah, if
just to align with.
I don't think that defection is possible anymore, but there are other things that can happen to quieten them. But then we go back to square one. If the momentum of P2B is going to be sustained and the Labour Party loses sight of what it is actually for, then everything is finished. So it is possible that the second part of this tenure, the first tenure passes, the second tenure PDP is back in everywhere they have been, and it becomes business as usual. Ask always the question, are you for the common good? Because this opposition has a lot to achieve. First of all, to vote that the local government money should not go to the governor. Yes. And monitor it. Because they have oversight function over the chairman.
Yes.
Every quarter you bring us a tabulated account of how the money was spent, how many bridges and the quality of the bridges that were built, the schools that were rebuilt, how many teachers have been retrained, hospitals that have been rebuilt and equipped. Go to the villages, Charles, we are in trouble, there's nothing there. And these people who are representing those villagers, what are they talking about in the house? So I'm waiting.
It's going to be centered around whether those who have won elections under the platform of the Labour Party, can stand their ground, can basically, ask that the right things be done.
Yeah, if the reason why they went into the place in the first place is not for the common good. Because that is always, it is not written on the face of what is in your heart. Yeah, the intention is always, and when they come with all kinds of excuses to what I call obfuscation, you use it to confuse, about all the mirror, you stir the water and you can't see the fish anymore, everything becomes nebulous and murky. And they hide under it to tell you, we're incapacitated, oh sorry, we cannot. I say, no, I'm not taking that as excuse. It's your fault. If by the end of this tenure or in 2 years, the House is not able to hold the executive accountable to utilize the money, whether it is half of the allocation we are getting or full allocation, use that money judiciously and let it be seen that it is used. That the Labour Party will not have any excuse. But as I told you, if the reason for coming in is not for the common good, you are back to square one.
Should the governor-elect be concerned about who leads the House? Those who are going to be the Speaker, those who are going to be at the hierarchy of the State House of Assembly. Should he be concerned? Because I think in the last election, the Anambra State Governor was also scared about the Obi wave, stating that he created the atmosphere for Labour Party to win the state at the presidential level. That people should remember that and vote ABGA. So at least he would not have to he would not have the issues with the State House of Assembly thinking around impeachment or what have you. At some point, he even said that Obi is building a landmine. And more so, if you have more people who have Labour Party in the State of Assembly, you don't really know what is in their mind. They might do and undo, given that they can receive instruction from Obi to do certain things. So did you see that scenario playing out?
Soludo should not be crying because he went to fetch ant-infested firewood, and now lizards are coming to pay him homage. So let him survive like Obi survived. Obi had 95% PDP House of Assembly members when he came in.
True.
And you know what happened to him? He wanted to pass a bill and they said, okay, come, let's tell you how. Obi said, no, I'm not sharing money. And they said, okay, let's see how you pass the bill. He sent the first bill, they rejected the second, the third. He said, okay, I will go to tell Anambra people what you have said. And they backed down and said, let's leave him to do the work. Yeah, so what is Soludo talking about? If you have parties that have parallel manifestos, like the Democrats and the Republicans in the US, you have an issue, but you don't have, there's nothing that is different among the parties. Is it that if the House insists that water should be supplied in Enugu in the first 6 months, is that what the governor will oppose? What will be his problem? Don't forget, always, is it for the common good? If the opposition is rooting for the common good, they get name for themselves. They have the possibility of taking over the state the next election. You understand? So where is the problem even coming from? Are you saying that any of the two groups in the House will oppose giving water to Enugu? Is that what the governor will oppose or the opposition? Is there any group that will oppose rebuilding schools? The opposition will come on how to share the money, whether local government money, assuming that the opposition says we are going to make sure that the money goes, and then the PDP will say, well, we don't think they should come to the governor. That's why you have issues. But if not, I don't envisage any problem on policy. Look at the manifesto. So what is it that the Labour Party has as manifesto? Is it different from what the PDP has? It's not. So there is no area of divergence. Because you actually have area of convergence. So all of them are telling us that they are for the public, for the common good. But we will see who exactly is for the common good. The state will change. But look at how the state is on the ground, Charles. Look at inside the Enugu metropolis. You drive anywhere, your steering is vibrating. All those places should have been had a resurfacing or recoating.
Yeah.
But it is not there. Is that what somebody will oppose in the House? If the governor brings a bill to say we are going to resurface all the roads in Enugu, you say the Labour Party will say no. They will not. If they say no, then they become enemy of the people. The problems that come are not issues of being for the public. It is only when it is for personal ego, personal profit, you have issues. This is very interesting. Now we have a very good scenario in Enugu.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that's what many people like me are anticipating.
Interesting.
To have a robust house, to have a situation where the governor can be put on the hot seat,
Mm-hmm.
and he'll be struggling to defend why he's not doing what is for the public interest.
Mm.
Let's see how it pans out.
Interesting. So you can join the conversation this morning. It's 0700 1055 1055. That is 0700 1055 1055. You can also call 0700 1055 0000. All right. You can call in and make your comments, ask questions as it relates to the topic on the front burner today. You're listening to a special program brought to you by the People's Creative Empowerment International, and it's one that is out to empower the people. Good to have you. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, sorry about that. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Odaze, is that you?
I just listened because we are working on the house to examine everything that has found out. But I just think that this emission has taken on and it's about 4 years that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're trying to because it's absolutely alarming. Someone from now. I feel for a very long time. There's still more work. And this is what I'm doing about. It was deliberate because if I call it on that's where they asked me. Because we wanted to get it like the other time. I thought I was the only one watching activities. I'm so interested from people. Yeah. I was so like, huh? I want to get I want to thank you very much. The analyst of the house. I've learned so much from what you're saying, and I'm making news. And I want people like to speak out. So from Enugu said, speak out. They will I grew up in English and said, talk up for police barrack. Then later we went to sizing or whatever.
This is great.
I'm not doing sizing, man. We give glory to God. We're still concentrating on the legal issue we have. It's very simpler. Do you know that Governorship is simpler than this Enugu case? Huh?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for a beautiful program.
Thank you, Odaze. God bless you. I'm so happy with the inputs that you make always, and you seem to know a lot of what is happening, especially here in Enugu, where you say you have lived. We are hoping for the best. I hope we are going to get something better, but Enugu is basically the way that Opara left it. Dr. Opara left it. Design you see in Enugu today is what Opara did. I don't think anything meaningful has been added to it, and it is not a lack of money.
Right, interesting. That's not a lack of money.
No, it's not a lack of money, no.
Even the amount of money is in allocation that's been sent to Enugu State since 1999, you wonder.
Yeah, you look at the ground and see where it is. It's buried somewhere. But not only that, don't forget that Enugu is one of the most indebted states.
Yeah. Okay, let's take this call. Hello. Good morning, Marcel.
Marcel, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Thomas Master. I am calling you from Upagipo. You don't know what Chicago. If I could say, I like this I could say. Trust me very well. Those things you are saying, something all of us is fine in our life. After continue doing thinking to get another result. What we are doing currently in our electionary for me, not election.
At all.
If I'm to mark this just concluded election, whether the presidential or gubernatorial, whichever one you might call it, I think this is one of the worst elections I've ever had in the country. Imagine in 2030, people are still intimidating people because they want to cast their vote for somebody they want to lead them. In this 21st century, somebody is going to carry a ballot box. Currently, witness that this is just concluded election. And for me, I think they happen to be one of our problems. They are one of the key problems here. And even we have this electronic voting. They have a transfer. I don't think the problem will be so big we have today. If you are doing electronic voting, I don't think somebody will be going there to carry the ballot box.
All right.
So please, if I can get it right, don't begin to look this longer, whoever you might call it. Begin to look at this issue where you are.
All right.
I think you can get it right in this country.
Marcel, many thanks. Because of time, we just have to let you go. We don't have time for more calls, so I think we just have to wrap things.
Okay, let me just make a point in what you have said now. What is happening here is what they call state capture in South Africa. You remember the case of South Africa with Jacob Zuma? You see what happened when the white people were running the South Africa, how they progressed. And now Mandela came in 94, served one tenure and left, and then the black people took over. And Zuma came and did what they call state capture. This is what is happening. They captured INEC. And how is it possible to capture INEC? Money, poverty, shrink the space, make it tight, and when the people are hungry, whatever you give them, they do your bidding. As long as the INEC is in the pocket of the executive, there's nothing you can do. The only people who can do something is what some of the electors, people like me and others who came to the polling booth and said, please stop this, don't do it. If you have more people who are challenging the what is going on, the people who have captured the state, they're having all the people who functionaries in their hands with money. So, but my final word would be, let us go beyond rancor and recrimination. Go beyond complaining. If you are a BG, gather the people in your town and start making proposals, write out what your town wants. Go to the local government, find a way, find your representative, send it to the house. Now we are going to have a robust house, hopefully. Don't just complain, get engaged. So go beyond. The election is finished, the winner has been declared. Let us find how we can help the current governor to do his work properly. That is what will be the best interest of. Let us hope that the next 4 years at Enugu, we start having some changes that are very visible and people can see those changes, and that our people are participating. Don't grumble in your room and just keep quiet. Engage, do something, undertake something. You are not as powerless as you think you are.
Indeed. That's where we leave it. Many thanks to you, Dr. Tobe Namani, for your time. It's always a fine time with you, listening to your lecturing and giving insights to the issues as they come. Many thanks again for your time this week. Truly appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Till next week.
All right, the program returns next week, Thursday, and hopefully we kick off another phase of the discussion that relates to the politics. If there are any other things that relates to the elections, we're surely going to bring it forth. But of course, we're going to be lecturing several other topics as it concerns us. Many thanks again for your listening. Thank you for being part of the broadcast. Remember, we mentioned earlier that the governor-elect